Let's do this.
What if you had to make a 911 call from the middle of nowhere, only to realize your phone had less signal than a potato? Welcome to the world of satellite communications, where the internet literally falls from the sky. Today we're blasting off on how satellites are changing the game for emergency comms, one orbit at a time.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm an ENP and I'm Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. 3 times each week, I bring you the latest, most informative, and sometimes controversial takes on emergency communications. Today, we're connecting the dots from the ground to the clouds and way, way beyond into the wild world of space and satellite communications for remote emergency response. Let's be honest, in the communications world, "Can you hear me now?" has become less of a catchphrase and more of a battle cry. Especially if you're in a rural area, on a boat, or halfway up a mountain trying to call 911 after a surprise bear encounter. This is where satellite communications, or SATCOMs, comes into play. Think of it as Wi-Fi from the final frontier. Internet from space. How the heck does that work? Look, satellite internet isn't just for secret agents or Netflix in Antarctica anymore. Companies like Starlink, HughesNet, and Viasat are all deploying thousands of satellites in what's called low Earth orbit, or LEO. That's a layer of satellites that blankets the planet and provides internet access. Basically, a small satellite dish can connect you with these space birds and beam your SOS into orbit, and voila, help can find you, even if your cell carrier can't. Coverage and capabilities for emergency communications. With SATCOM, coverage is starting to get impressive. LEO satellites now commonly cover rural areas, disaster zones, national parks, and that one weird stretch of highway with nothing but tumbleweeds and conspiracy theories. For emergency responders, this means always on, always anywhere backup. And that's great for dispatch centers, mobile command posts, or when the terrestrial network takes a coffee break, like it recently did during the hurricanes in North Carolina. Starlink ended up emergency airdropping units into disaster areas that got first responders back online in minutes. No infrastructure was needed, and it's a good thing because pretty much none was left standing. The cost of deployment, good for backup or everyday use. Is internet from space pricey? Yeah, kinda. Especially if you're outfitting an entire town. But for public safety, it's a no-brainer. Backup hardware might run $500 to $2,500 per dish. Monthly plans are about $99 to $500. But what's unlimited? The ability to be online. And that brings peace of mind. Now, full-time use for departments is still an interesting discussion point and one that's growing in popularity. But as of right now, satellites clearly shines as an on-demand lifeline when the regular data pipes are frozen. Some new evolving deployments. The friendly, connected skies. So if you're thinking this is just for the doomsday preppers out there, guess again. United Airlines has just rolled out Starlink Wi-Fi on many of their flights, showing that satellite broadband is ready for prime time at 30,000 feet. It's being offered free of charge to Mileage Plus customers, will support video conferencing and high-speed data, and they've committed to upgrading the entire fleet in the near future. So from a public safety perspective, expect to see your fire trucks, ambulances, and incident command centers to look a little more like spaceships as this tech lands everywhere. The disaster use case for public safety. When tornadoes, hurricanes, or wildfires take out the cell tower infrastructure, satellite systems are ready to step in. No more radio silence when communities need help the most. These are portable, quickly deployed, and not dependent on local infrastructure. That makes them a serious must-have for any disaster response kit, even in the corporate space. But what about prime time? Short answer, just about. The speeds are up, the hardware is down, in price, not out of the sky, and ease of use is way up. But there is room to grow. You've got congestion, weather interference, and some regulatory headaches that are still out there. But in the end, it's light years better than anything before. Satellite's not ready to replace fiber or cellular for daily 911 operations in cities. But as a backup for truly remote critical comms, it's a literal lifesaver. Think of it as the Swiss Army knife of public safety tech. Don't leave headquarters without it. That wraps up today's episode of TiPS, Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for listening. For more updates and insights, remember to follow me on most social media platforms at Fletch911. And you can visit 911tips.com, where you'll find a complete archive of all my previous episodes. Stay safe, thanks so much for listening, and if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every day. This is Fletch. Take care. I'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Catch past episodes on 911tips.com. That's 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good. TiPS is brought to you by 911 Inform, the leading next-generation 911 solution for enterprise compliance with federal 911 regulations. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. 911 Inform, making every second count when it matters the most.